So I honestly wasn't sure as to whether I was going to weigh in on the recent happenings at Funimation. To be completely transparent here, I haven't been the best of anime fan this year at all. I really haven't watched much of anything outside of what I've been working on for the channel, as sparse as that's been. Now, I have no doubt that as soon as the announcement went out that Funimation was having their entire library folded into Crunchyroll, everyone with a channel on YouTube jumped through themselves to make a video about it because big news, right? And I mean, of course it's big news. Funimation has been around for a long time in some form or fashion for the majority of my time as an anime fan, and for a lot of anime nerds out there, it's pretty much the gold standard of anime. Now, if someone had asked me what my thoughts were on Sony when they bought both Funimation and Crunchyroll, wait, they did. And I seem to remember saying that I imagined that Sony would want to keep both of them in operation. One for the, the home video side of things, where you could get dubbed content and your uncut content, and the other one for, your broadcast streams. Basically, Funny would be the premium site, and Crunchyroll would keep going on as the place people went to for their free crap, despite all the issues with the video player and the cancer-inducing levels of toxic comments. Clearly, I was mistaken. Now, it really does make sense for there to be one site to rule them all. From a cost standpoint, paying to watch anime on two websites owned by the same parent company is a pain in the butt. And for another, it's probably a lot easier from a logistics standpoint when it comes to licensing agreements. Even with both websites being owned and controlled by Sony, they would still represent a form of competition with one another as a brand. And rather than giving fans an either-or choice, well, they just consolidated and made it a very simple one. Now, 5 days ago, on March 1st, Crunchyroll pretty much shocked everyone when they released an article called Funimation Content Moving to Crunchyroll for World's Largest Anime Library. And it goes on to say, huge news, anime just powered up. Funimation, which serves millions of anime fans in over 52 countries and 10 languages, will be unifying under the Crunchyroll brand. And basically, it's going to include Funimation's subsidiary, Wakanim, as well as Crunchyroll's VRV to create one subscription service for all of the anime fans worldwide. And it means that basically you get more dubs, more subs, more everything. And they list some shows, and they said it's happening right now, today, starting today. There was no forewarning, there was no preamble, there was no foreshadowing. It just, boom, it just happened. The mic dropped. And like that, basically, Funimation as a brand is over. So let me get this out of the way right now, definitively, so that there's no confusion. I don't really care that Funimation as a brand is gone. Since 2011, Funimation has been on my perpetual crap list for one reason or another. I've managed time and again to be astonished at the deceitful and underhanded business ethics of the company, and I have all but hated myself for having to spend money on their half-assed Blu-rays just so I could alleviate my conscience when it came to supporting the industry. Over the past 5 to 7 years, Funimation has positioned themselves to be some kind of holy savior of anime, and they've really worn the dazzle and the rock star look. But deep down, they're just really only ever in it for the cash. They've repeatedly turned a deaf ear to community feedback and constructive criticism, focusing instead on maintaining a fake, polished image. To be blunt, I'm thankful that they are over. Now, for as bad as I think Funimation was for the community, they did at least represent a sort of shaky stability within the industry. Their releases were far from perfect, but at least with Funimation, we knew what to expect. Now, for the first time in a long time, I'm not so sure where all of this is headed anymore. On any given day, the anime community seems quite thoroughly split on whether Crunchyroll good or Crunchyroll bad. When they're not sponsoring pretentious cartoons with fan money, they are still overcomplicating the simple everyday anime by treating every language dub as its own anime season. I mean, seriously, why do I need to scroll through all of the wonderful languages of the world in my browser when you could just make a track for that in the player? And don't even get us started on the half-assery with the apps that almost never ever work on Roku. Really, Crunchyroll, you're gonna let High Dive beat you on that one, my dudes? It's been suggested that this migration from Funimation to Crunchyroll is gonna take some time to iron out, and I can see that happening. You know, it's gonna take time to get those kinks and wrinkles flattened, and I'm okay with that. I understand that this is a big deal. There are a lot of things that need to happen with this. Subscriptions need to come to an end. Current streaming titles need to wrap up. And I'm sure a brand new complaint center in Alaska somewhere needs to be created for all of the issues that are going to happen with this, consolidation, and then be promptly ignored. My biggest worry in all of this is Sony. It's always been Sony. Okay, the biggest number one question that keeps coming up time and again over this consolidation is, will the anime still be uncensored? Now, I'm not talking about boobas and pantsu. That's kind of a given. I'm talking about basic, common, simple censorship. Will the anime be uncut for the premium Crunchyroll subscribers? Will some anime make that cut and some not? I don't know. And it all really now comes down to Sony. So to put it in perspective, when Azur Lane was set for home video release, I think last year, it was heavily suggested that it would see a censorship of one particular bath episode. And of course, Funimation addressed that as being false rumor. Whether they were going to censor it or not and then change their mind later is irrelevant. The point is, Funimation at least had a rule against censorship. Mostly. There were a few instances in the past when they would censor a little bit, but by and large, we knew that we could at least get a true uncut home video release of our shows. No lollipops for cigarettes, no light beams for booties. But now that Funimation is out, what happens now? Are they still going to be a distributor of anime? Are they still going to distribute anime uncut and uncensored? And if so, who decides on the censorship level? If it was left up to Sony, I can promise you we'd all be watching Ryan's toy reviews and singing that damn shark song. Because apparently grown-ass people can't decide for themselves what's appropriate and inappropriate. That's a decision that someone else clearly has to make for us. So far, Sony has been sort of hands-off on the anime side of things, but their censorship of video games is a completely different story. It speaks to a heavy hand in cleaning up what they see as trash. So much so that I won't even buy mildly ecchi games from Japan on the PS4 or the PS5 because some decrepit cobweb of a CEO that is completely out of touch with the known universe seems to think that showing mildly lewd content in a game is a naughty no-no. I feel at this point someone needs to tell Sony that just because they've never properly seen a booba doesn't mean they have to hide it from the rest of us. I'm going to be honest here. Having all the anime in one spot, it just makes sense. It was a good move by Sony, and it will help consolidate the streams, but there are a lot of potential issues. Fans are being very vocal about whether or not comments are going to stick around. I personally think the comments are kind of trash, and that they need to just go. There's the whole every language dub being its own season thing. And, I feel like that could be fixed with just a setting, in your profile. You sign up, you select your settings, you select your quality, and you go on. And there it is. But of course, where this is all going to end, I think, is the big question. For now, I'll just say that I can at least rest a little easy in the knowledge that I'm not paying for 2 anime sites for 2 subscriptions to show me the exact same anime title. For now, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. This is either the beginning of the end, or this is the beginning of what should have happened a long time ago when Funimation and Crunchyroll partnered up. But who's to say? I would love to get your thoughts on all of this. What is your take on the Funimation library being rolled over into Crunchyroll, where they're basically getting rid of the Funimation brand, they're going with the Crunchyroll brand? What is your take on all of this? What do you think is going to happen? What are your concerns? What do you see? How do you see this as a positive? Where do you see this as a negative? And just let me know. Put all of that in the comment section down below and let me hear all about it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please, by all means, hit that like button. And of course, if you are new, subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you as part of the Gruz Gang. If you'd like to help support us directly, you can do so by becoming a member of the Patreon. There is a link in the description down below. You can donate as little as $1. I'll get a coffee and I'll get right back to work making more content like this one. Have an amazing day, everyone. Keep being awesome, and I will see you all in the next video.